On the morning of the 6th of December 2019, I woke up to find myself in a strange place, which only barely resembled the India that I knew. You see, I had gone to sleep amidst a caring, sensitive, politically correct, free and fair society which valued human life and dignity. As a student of political science, I had read about and believed in our country's mighty ideals about securing fundamental rights for each and every one of us. Don't get me wrong, I was staunchly and personally aware of the frightening rate at which gruesome, unspeakable crimes were being committed against our women. I had watched as society had taken a collective gasp every time a new headline flashed by, louder and louder as the crimes got deadlier and deadlier. I had experienced fear, closer than ever before, and anger at those in power for ever letting it get this bad with taking barely any action. And also stark sadness for those who were the unfortunate victims to this monster. But somewhere within me, I had an unmistakable confidence that these people who were so very ready to make things right, who were awake and aware and loud and clear that they would do what it took to set the bar straight. They would do what it took to drill some sense into the minds of these animals. 2 weeks ago, a 26-year-old veterinarian in Hyderabad, India, was brutally assaulted, stripped of her modesty, murdered, and burned. And the saddest part about this is, regardless of how gruesome and gory this sounds, it's not new, right? The country was probably teetering on the edge of the boiling point for a while now, because something about this incident in particular seemed to drive the point home that this was real, this was happening. And people were finally talking, and they were talking loud. Hashtags were pouring in, government officials were getting involved, and the government could no longer sit and not do anything and just relax like they had been all this while. So the morning that I was talking about, I woke up to find myself in a different scenario with a different set of people. Apparently, action had been taken. The 4 men who were accused in the Hyderabad case had been shot down and killed in a police encounter. People were beyond elated. My neighbor was throwing a party. Government officials were nodding their heads in approval. Social media was very happy. And why shouldn't they be? Justice was finally being served. Action was being taken. These alleged animals were getting what they deserved. It served them right, right? Only a while later did it dawn on me, who were we to decide what served them right? Who were we to take justice with all its hefty complications into our own hands and regress back ages into animalistic bouts of revenge and violence? Was I looking at a proactive government or the broken shards of a once glorious democracy where fundamental rights only existed when the government or the media thought that they should? Intrigued and unsettled, I did what any 17-year-old does. I took to the internet. And the more I read, the more I saw. These killings had a name. They were called extrajudicial killings. Basically murder by state authorities who had no legal backing. These extrajudicial killings are no stranger to our world. In fact, you and I might have read an article about the Philippine president using them in his ruthless war against drugs, or them being prevalent deep in the slums of Kenya, or maybe even an article or two about Naxalite killings. But this time, they had taken center stage. You see, it wasn't the first time there was an extrajudicial killing in India, but it was the very first time that they were being widely validated, even applauded. In the interest of steering clear of upsetting anyone's emotions or feelings, let me just lay out a few facts for you. The basis of our liberal democratic principles revolve around the fact that each one of us are entitled to the same set of fundamental rights. These are supposed to be available to you, to me, to every person walking on the streets, to every victim, to every criminal. At some point of time, all of us have taken pride in these principles and their implementation. Where is the pride now? How are we standing here smiling while 4 men get murdered, 4 men who did not have a trial, did not have a hearing, did not have representation, who did not have the chance to even hear a court's judgment. How are we standing as we see precedents being set for undemocratic, inhumane crimes in the future? Today, it is 4 men who are probably guilty. Tomorrow, it is any man who an officer with a gun feels is guilty. Extrajudicial killings, ladies and gentlemen, pave the path for police impunity, letting them get away with whatever they want to do. It leads the path to ruthless exploitation of the poor and marginalized communities. And it is statistically proven that this increases the number of post-assault murders because the criminals fear that the crimes will get reported. It exploits our tendencies to revenge and violence and makes us realize our worst fears. Most of you will look at me talking here today and say, what does a 17-year-old girl know? She hasn't even seen the worst of it. While that might be true, in all my optimistic naivete, I would still like to believe that risking the death of millions in an attempt to secure justice is not the only way we can protect our daughters. I would still like to believe that 72 years down the line, we can still go back to the principles that we had started with. Thank you.